necessity to decrease the carbon footprint. The automotive industry is facing major changes in the last years. Resources of the companies have been drained. I will rephrase the question.
Today, on behalf of Business Conference Facilitation, I'm going to interview Sergio Moriano from DOMO Chemicals. And my first question is very relevant to this conference. Why do automotive industry needs lightweight composites?
The automotive industry is facing major changes in the last years. Basically, with the electrification of the cars and the CO2 strict regulations, all the OEMs and the Tier 1s are in the necessity to decrease the carbon footprint. So basically, they are needed for new solutions or to improve the current solutions that are available in the market.
Mm-hmm. And what is the importance in increasing in global population?
Basically, what is changing is the way that the consumer is using the car and perceiving not only the car but the transportation needs. So if we think on the gentrification of the population and more population in the big cities, more and more the new generations are not needed to have a car, but to have the need covered to move from A to B. So basically, it's one of the things that are impacting on this with the car sharing platforms or the Uber platforms or the BlaBlaCar kind of platforms. So this is impacting the companies, and the OEMs are trying to access to these markets through electrical vehicles or through other technologies.
Mm-hmm. So, and as we know, the automotive industry purchasing decisions, they're influenced by the price of the composites, right? So what do you think about pricing policy of the components?
Of course, price is one of the components. So we need to, but if we look on the total cost of ownership of car, we need to look on all the sides of the equation. Basically, raw material is one key topic for the industry, and we are fully committed in DOMO to be a competitive partner for the OEMs. But at the same time, we don't have we have to take in mind all the topics around CO2 footprint and the full life cycle analysis. So more and more in our conversation with OEMs, it's around this. So it's how DOMO can support our customers on this life cycle analysis and in the total cost of ownership. So of course, cost of the raw material remains very important, but there are other areas where I think we can support our customers.
Girls, do you like cars?
Yes, we do.
So, if I were you, I would have joined the third Automotive Thermal Management Conference right now that will take place in January 2020 in Berlin. Register right now, secure a place, get your discount right here or right here. See you in Berlin.
So how do you think it's better to increase price or decrease so it will have influence on quality of the materials?
I don't think the raw material suppliers we need to increase or decrease the price. It's an open market, so the different technologies balance each other, and there is ramp up on the technology and the adoption of the technology, and there is the mass criticality. Of course, if you develop a product that is not implemented, the cost will be much higher, so then it will be very difficult to implement. So you need to create sustainable technologies, and sustainable in terms of eco-friendly CO2 reduction, but at the same time in the value that is provided to customers.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think, what are some of the challenges that the industry of dealing with regarding weight reduction?
I think the main challenges that the industry in general is facing is that there is a crossroads about lightweight, about new energy systems and new technologies for the powertrain. So the main challenge is not that the technologies are not available, but it's that OEMs have to develop a lot of new models, a lot of new technologies in a short period of time. Regulations are forcing to adapt these technologies. So basically, the resources of the companies have been drained by these new developments. So a very important role of the tiers and like us in raw material and application development suppliers is to support the OEMs to facilitate the speed to market in order to make our customers more successful and in the short period of time.
So will it be a rapid change to all composites?
Yeah, if we look on the traditional technologies and the previous changes in the industry, the cycles has been very long. So we have technologies like thermosets in the last 40, 50 years. But if we look in the last technologies like UD tapes, thermoplastic composites, they are increasing very rapidly and with very high GDPs. And really the time to adoption is much shorter than the previous technologies. So we see that in the next 5 years, we see a lot of new technologies that will be implemented in the current in the models of the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So the last question, it's about engines. So for usage of lightweight materials, there is some improvement needed for engine, right?
I will rephrase the question. I will say, composite materials can bring improvements to engines and can support the engineers at the OEM level to adapt the engines to the better performance. So if we think on the trend of downsizing of the combustion engines, so in the last years we had 3 liters engines, but more and more we see 2 liters, and in the future combustion engines will be in the range of 1 liter, 1.2, but with much higher turbo pressure, with much higher temperatures. So composites are there to support the feasibility of these engines and to increase the reliability of these engines, but keeping the cost for the OEM at the right level.
Yes. So thank you very much for your answers. So I think it was very interesting interview. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.